Hello folks, this is Kristen and today we have a special guest, Mendel.
Hello Kristen, I'm glad to be here.
I'm going to start off with a few basic questions, but first can you tell me a little bit about yourself?
Why sure. Well, I was born on July 20th, 1822 in Hansendorf, Austria, and died on January 6, 1884 in Brno, Austria. I've been Austrian my whole life. I studied in the genetic field in Palacky University and the University of Vienna. Being a scientist has always been in my blood. I became a monk. To this day in 2016, I'm known as the father of modern genetics.
Wow, interesting. Can you tell me a little bit about your childhood?
Yes, of course. Like I said, I was born and raised in Austria, and until I was 11 years old, I lived on my family's farm. A schoolmaster was then impressed by me and suggested I attend a secondary school. I took his advice and then graduated from the program.
Wow, you must have had quite the brains. What exactly were you trying to figure out in your years of science? What sparked your interest?
Well, Kristen, I was always very interested by traits and genes and how it all works. I was very interested on how genes from parents got carried to its offspring. Into subtopics, I wanted to know what each trait came from, how your parents affected it, and how each gene got separated.
Can you tell me a little bit more about how you took action in this?
So I started by observing which traits got passed to the offspring. I also looked for patterns between generations, and with being around plants all the time during my monk days, this started my pea plant experiment.
I don't recall this pea plant experiment. What do you mean?
Well, to find out more about the offspring and parent traits, I cross-pollinated a yellow-flowered pea plant and a green-flowered pea plant. The first generation was known as the parental generation. I discovered there were two types of ways to the classification in the organism while dealing with traits and genes, homozygous and heterozygous. Heterozygous meaning two different traits, homozygous meaning two of the same traits. To cross-pollinate these plants, you have to rub the pollen against each other. Then I waited to see the offspring.
Well, Mr. Mendel, you can't leave us on a cliffhanger. What were the results?
Well, Kristen, my first generation, also known as F1 generation, turned out as all yellow flowered plants. I immediately panicked when I thought I had made the green flowered plants disappear. This shows that the yellow flower was dominant and the other was recessive, meaning when a trait is dominant, it is always expressed. Recessive usually meaning it is hidden or masked when a dominant trait is present. My next generation was the self-pollination generation, also known as F2. The F2 generation was a ratio of 3:1 to yellow-flowered and green-flowered pea plants. I saw a pattern in this offspring, then I discovered the three laws. Law of dominance, meaning dominant traits can be seen in a hybrid. Law of segregation, meaning factors separate when gametotypes are formed. And the law of independent assortment, stating that two or more traits are inherited, the genes are sorted through gamete production.
Well, Mendel, little did you know you're changing science. I'm sorry to cut you off, but that seems like all we have time for today.
No problem, Kristen. Thanks for having me.